And we've been joined by Coach Dana Holgorsen from Houston. The Cougars are 2-3 overall, 0-1 in the American Athletic Conference. Houston was idle last week. They'll be back at TD Stadium on Saturday to face Cincinnati, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 Central on ESPN2. Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the call. We just get your thoughts on how your open week went as you get ready to get back in action Saturday against Cincinnati.
It is a good time for a bye week. Just as far as the 5 weeks that we had to start the season, it's really nice to be able to play a home game, a conference home game. Being the middle of October, you'd think that would have happened earlier, but it's just the cards that we've been dealt, and we'll deal with it. But we've, got healed up and had a good week of practice, got some recruiting done, and had an opportunity to get a little ahead on a really, really, really good Cincinnati team coming to Houston here this Saturday.
We'll take questions for Coach Dana Holgorsen. Please star 1 on your telephone keypad to join the queue, and then the operator will introduce you. And again, star 1 for questions, please. For being bashful, Coach, I'll ask the first one. Can we just get your thoughts on what you've seen out of Cincinnati? Obviously, Cincinnati's coming in off a pretty emotional win. To talk about how the matchup might shake up with them coming in off that win, and you guys enjoying having an open week to take stock and take a look at them.
Yeah, pretty emotional game in Cincinnati on Friday night. I think they, wanted to get after Central Florida, and they did. Played really good defensively. This is as good of a defensive unit as we've seen all year. They got a lot of experience. They're big. They're, Coach Fickle's a defensive-minded guy, and they're very sound with what they do. It's very similar to what we do defensively, and they got 3 years head start on us. So it's gonna be a challenge. We understand that, and as it should be. I mean, they're at Cincinnati. I got history with these guys going back to 10 years ago, and they play really good football, and they get really good athletes, and they recruit at a very high level there in Ohio. And they've played well all year. They've had 3 home games, played UCLA, Miami of Ohio, and Central Florida. Big win at Marshall. Got after those guys, which I consider pretty good. And then obviously their only loss against Ohio State, which is a top 5 team in the country. So got really good players, and they're very well coached. They're sound. They play hard. And it was pretty evident that they wanted to win that game against Central Florida with what they played effort-wise, and had a great crowd, great home crowd, and be a big challenge for us here this week.
And then following up on just a question that was asked earlier with some of the coaches, just your thoughts on the conference as a whole and what you've seen out of maybe particularly from the West Division of the conference, and just the performance to date and your place in it.
Yeah, I was able to watch a bunch this weekend, just having a bye. We did some recruiting, but I was able to watch Friday night and Saturday. Got 3 ranked teams. Memphis was playing well. SMU's undefeated and playing well. Sonny had a big win against Tulsa, who I thought Tulsa played really well and had a chance to win that game at SMU. Tulane had a huge win at Army. That was an impressive win for them. And then obviously Cincinnati, beating Central Florida. So 3 ranked teams in the conference. Central Florida's been ranked. It's as good of a conference as there is out there. So got a lot of big games ahead of us.
Thanks. We can move on to the next question, please.
Thank you. We'll take our question from Jason Stamm with Rivals.com. Please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the Cincinnati's defense, but just as far as even Desmond Ridder and Michael Warren on offense, how do you see those guys progressing? I know, obviously you weren't familiar with last year, but how do you see them throughout the season from what you've seen? How do you see them getting better, and where do you feel like they are even now as compared to when you first started watching them?
Well, I really didn't watch anything prior to obviously getting here. I hadn't had any crossover with Cincinnati in the 8 years that I was at West Virginia, other than the first year. But I know Coach Fickle's a very sound coach, and these guys, 3 years into it, they've had really good continuity on offense. I worked with their O-line coach Ron Crook there at West Virginia. He's as good as there is at coaching a hard-nosed brand of offense. And I know they want to run the ball and they want to get into tight ends and hand that ball to the back, and you got to account for the quarterback as well. So a very physical nature of the offense, and that doesn't happen overnight. You got to focus on that, and over the course of years, you got to get better at it. And it looks to me like they have.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for your time today. We look forward to hearing from you once again next Monday.